for joining us. This is still Enterprise Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our conversation for today. Nigeria has spent about 981.5 billion naira. That is about $5.48 billion on 7 general elections since 1999, making it polls among the most expensive globally. The 1999 transition election alone cost 32 billion naira. That is about $1.46 billion, while subsequent elections have seen steadily rising expenses, with the 2023 polls gulping about 355.3 billion naira. That is about 815 million US dollars. Despite the huge cost, Nigeria's elections continue to face credibility challenges, attracting thousands of petitions, from just 2 in 1999 to nearly 2,000 in 2023. Compared to countries like Pakistan, Russia, and Canada, Nigeria spends far more on its elections despite having similar or even smaller voter population. Observers attribute the high cost to corruption, logistical hurdles, the destruction of electoral materials, and politicians' desperation. INEC have also invested heavily in technology such as the BVAS and electronic transmission system, much of which has failed to guarantee credibility outcomes. I still have with me Mr. Dotto. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so let's get to talking this. I'm very passionate about this. You are a publisher of an astounding media organization, and I love to believe at one point or another you would have, had the opportunity of talking about this and more. Elections in Nigeria, we spend so much, like you had from our report, but we don't see anything out of it. Is election in Nigeria becoming more like a business than it is about ensuring that, that we do the needful? Yes.
Well, indeed, reporting politics is my stuff. I was politics editor of The Punch at some time in my career. Now, these figures are actually huge in terms of what we commit to election. But I'm sure you know, it's far, far more than this. When you add what happens in other government agencies that have to do with this election, we're talking of only what INEC has spent. Can you imagine the deployment of the military, the police, civil defense, and all of those? Because they are part of this expenditure, which we've not captured.
Yeah, of course, we didn't capture. Remember, just days back, the Nigerian Police Force said it spent 23 million on crackers for its men. So imagine how much they will spend throughout the electioneering period buying water and
they move people in order not to have compromised people manning their areas. They move from, some will go from Kano to Bayelsa and all like that. They mix them up, which is also an expenditure. But my take is this: until we reform, we'll continue to spend more.
So when you say reform, what are you talking about?
Our electoral process, we need to reform it. Otherwise, we'll be spending more. Now, but that is not to say that in comparing ourselves to other countries, we are on the same pedestal in terms of spending. For instance, what happened, why did the figures jump up from one electoral cycle to the other, one election cycle to the other? Exchange rate.
Exchange rate. Okay.
Yes, because you see the conversion to dollar.
Yeah. Okay.
You see the conversion to dollar. I've shared this with a couple of my friends. In 2010, I went to the US. I saw a Toyota Camry, a 2006 model. I bought it for $9,500.
Okay.
At that time, sir.
$9,500.
Okay. At that time, sir, dollar was 125 naira. That is the naira
value.
Was 125 naira to a dollar.
Yes.
Some years back, I think that was 20 2018 or thereabout, when we started having a major crisis with the dollar, I checked the model for 2014, the same 4-year gap.
Yes.
It still remained $9,500.
Wow.
But we were looking at an exchange rate of about $1,500. So when you look at that, you'll understand why we are in this crisis. So that also must be taken care of. I have a friend who keeps saying, see, if it is the politics that we have to play, we must go and play it in order for our naira to have its value. Because it doesn't seem to me like it is normal for the naira to have suddenly crashed the way it did. And we are today oscillating 1516.
Hovering 1516, yeah.
If we get it right, you will see that when we take it down to the dollar, it's going to come down. So that's the first thing we must understand about all this calculation.
Okay.
Is the cost. And then generally, the cost of living in the country has also increased. Don't forget that transportation is a major part of election.
Yes.
You are flying, you are going by sea, and you are on the road. So, how much was fuel in 1999 when we returned to democracy? How much is it now? So even if you deploy the same numbers of vehicles that you deployed in 1999 in 2024, or let's say 2023, which was the last election that we had, it couldn't have been the same cost. It couldn't have been the same cost. Because tires that we bought in 1999, brand new, for 2,000, 3,000, maximum 7,000, you now buy it some for as much as 200,000. Now, those are the factors fueling all of this. Papers that you print for so amount in 1999, you can't go near it now and print it for the same amount. And don't forget, we print our papers outside of Nigeria. We don't print it within.
Which is not really necessary.
I'm saying that even those who work in the Nigerian printing and minting, yes, they should all be sacked, because I don't see what they are doing. They can't print examination papers, they can't print passport, they can't.
Yeah, what exactly is it?
What are they doing there? You don't print an naira in the country. These are the costs we are talking about. It's not the cost of somebody just sitting in his office and saying, bring me coffee. No. If we are paying a youth corps member for participating in that election 100 naira in 1999, we dare not do that in 2023. It's going to be like a 10,000 or so. Yeah. Those are the costs. That's why I'm saying some of these costs can be taken off INEC by way of reformation. Number one, we need to find a cheaper means of moving our equipment around. At some point, they also involve the Air Force. Now that the Army and the Navy, they have their own choppers and planes, they also involve them in moving necessary papers across the country. The rate at which you flew for 1 hour 1999 is not the rate at which you are going to do it this year. So it's a lot of things. No, that's one. We must go back to this electronic voting. There is no way we can you can run away from that. People should be able to sit in the comfort of their home instead of bringing everybody out, lining them up for us, and let them vote. And that equally applies to diaspora voting. Some people live where they are in the US, in the UK, in Canada, all over, to come back home just to vote. They don't need to. Too early voting for them. Let them be the first set of people so that you can monitor it. Yeah. You need to be able to monitor these things. And it's shameful that when you go out of this country, or even within, you find out that some of the best tech guys that we have, they are Nigerians. Yeah. These are things we should be able to deploy people to do for us. We should spend less. Because that itself is not even the democracy. It is just the process to electing. Let me add this. I think that will be my top point. We should ensure that nobody, this does not affect INEC. It affects, because it's part of the costs of elections that we actually look away from. Nobody should be sworn in until they conclude all the processes, including litigations. A lot of people are in office, especially governors and presidents. They use their money to prosecute elections. That's why somebody will be in office and say because he's struggling for second term, they take him to court. He will go and take 200 senior advocates of Nigeria. And those guys, you know, they don't come cheap.
Yeah.
It's still a part of it. We should ensure. There was a time there was a proposal that elections should take place in the November before the year of handing over, which will be the next year. We shouldn't just send in it. It's a dangerous thing to do, and we should consider a single term for the president and the governors, so that nobody is sitting in office and going through litigation to retain that office. Don't forget, we can want to overlook it, but if you go through the documents quoted, litigation is one of the greatest components of what we're looking at.
From 2 in 1999 to about 2,000 in the last election.
So how do you do that? And it is a must for INEC to show up in all of those places. Otherwise, INEC will be accused of bias.
But how could we get all of this, right? We all know the way politics is played in Nigeria. Politics is played in a form that someone who knows that he is not popular, he knows he might not win, right? But will go behind and do what they know how to do best. It's not like INEC does not understand how they can deploy technology to ensure that free, credible election is what it should be. But when politicians are part of the problem, how do you think we can better solve it?
Politicians will always be part of the problem because it's a struggle for survival and power. They will always be. It is for us to be able to say, okay, these are the safeguards. And like I said, one of it should be one term in office, 5 years.
But those that will make it happen, parliamentarians, are equally the deeper issue.
That's where the problem is. They don't even want it to happen. They don't want it to. It's to their own advantage. Because if we go back in time, you recollect that there was a time when there was this strident debate about lawmaking being a part-time job, not full-time. Some of them that I know, they are richer than what the assembly, the whole of the National Assembly, will earn in 1 year. They are richer than that. So, those people should stay back home, focus more on their businesses, and come to do part-time lawmaking. That way they can even see clearer, they can see better. But they are full-time, and they want the system to bear the burden of their being full-time legislators.
Imagine Ojo Zokalu, who of course is the publisher or owner of The Sun, saying that 14 million naira a month is too small for him. Two-term governor.
Hold on, sir. What will you do with 14 million naira? That's a big question. Is it to foil his car? Or to put power in his house 24/7? That's a big question. That's what I'm saying. A lot of them are richer than the National Assembly itself. But the danger in what they earn, sir, is not in the monthly emolument that we see. It's in the allowances. The allowances are crazy. I don't know if it's been expunged now. Despite the fact that everything is online, they still get allowances for newspapers.
That they don't read.
How will they read it when it's already on their phones? But somebody must benefit from that. That's why sometimes I overlook that part of the argument. That how will the vendor sell?
Yeah, true.
Is it to me and you? When in the morning we are already
overwhelmed with issues.
Even we already know everything that is inside the paper. So that's why I overlook some of those. But there are so many things in the allowances that when you go through it, you feel like I'm just killing this country. They make it look like the vehicles that they give to them. Yes, they will say, is it this? When they discount it at the end of the 4 years, they sell it to them. At how much? Peanuts. Let these guys go back and do their day-to-day businesses and come and meet once or twice. Now they even do 3 times. What they call overseeing those ministries, departments, and agencies under them is what takes their time. And a lot of times, I don't see that oversight function. I don't see how it helps. Because that is part of the reasons why they don't want to let me.
Now, yes. No, you're saying something.
They profit from them a lot. We've been saying this all over, these oversight functions. It's something else that a lot of them use it for. That's why it's going to be tough if we don't go through either a constitution amendment that will come through a constituent assembly.
What does that mean now?
Now, what it means is this. The piecemeal amendment to the constitution that is being done now won't help us. It won't. What it needs is something that is taken completely out of the hands of the lawmakers.
Okay.
Because
And given to who?
To Nigerians who will be empowered by their people. Just like we've always had constitutional conferences. Let them discuss and come up with resolutions and let there be a free way of getting that thing passed as the will of the people. Look at the one that was done the last time, which people have described as the best document we've ever had as a constitution. What happened? It's still lying there in the shelves. If we give these things to our lawmakers to undo, it will never see the light of the day. It won't, because their interest must be protected.
Very well.
And like I always tell people, I don't fault anybody. Even when you enter an aircraft, they tell you, when there is a problem, make sure you save yourself first. That's what our people are doing. They don't think about the good of the majority. And that's why we cannot go beyond having some things in our elections done away with. Because if you go down to the level of one term for everybody, for instance, as governors or presidents, they will think it's going to affect them. No, but lawmaking is a different ballgame.
Okay, they can be there as much as they want to.
It requires a lot of experience. You get better with it. But most of them, go and check the records. Do they even meet the number of times they should be in the assembly a year? Some of them just sit down there and you won't hear their name throughout the year. Yeah. Because they don't make any meaningful contribution, they don't bring bills. I'm sure a lot of them have not had one bill passed. So what are we talking about? But they are the ones who are holding the country. Because we can't get to do all of these amendments until we get to that point where these people overlook all their sentiments and allow the country to run. The country can run. If even as we stand now, a few things will change. I was telling somebody last night of this one, I said, if we all make up our minds that from this moment we want to do what is right. Everybody, from the cleaner to the policeman to the lawmakers to the president, everything that is right, this country will change in 24 hours. Because we know, and we don't need the constitution to do that.
Very well. Very, very true. Because so many people have said, even some lawyers I've had on this platform have said that what we need is not a change of constitution, but a change of ourselves as Nigerians. Now, looking at from the beginning of the Fourth Republic, 1999, up until now, when we take a look at separation of power between the executive, legislature, and the judiciary, it has always been separate, autonomous from 1999. Today, the legislature and the judiciary are looking like an appendage of the executive, and further worsened by the president of our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who wants everyone all to himself. The speaker, the Senate president now, is standing on the mandate as we speak, singing things are getting better.
See, the way I always react to that is
yes.
Any man who is sure of himself, who, to quote Adam Oshiomhole, does not want his sins forgiven, can stand on his own. A lot of people have done things that they know they want to cover up, so that their sins can be forgiven.
Okay. Oh, okay.
That's why they are running to APC. A lot of them. That's why they are running to APC.
Okay, they don't have a choice.
They don't. They know that they don't. So, about working together, one of the things people don't also talk about in this country is the fact that from where we copied our constitution largely, the vice president of that country is in the assembly. Don't forget, the vice president is in the Senate in the US.
The current the past vice president.
All of them, they are in the Senate.
Still serving their constituencies.
It's a must for them.
Yes.
So that's the relationship that you see happening. So there's nothing bad working together. But we must not work together because we have sins to cover. That's not what we should be doing, but that's what is happening in Nigeria. Let's work together. But don't work together because you have sins to cover. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I can tell you to go to hell in a way that you are going to look forward to that journey. And we don't need to fight. But it's our own, we have turned it into whatever the president wants, we will do. I'm not saying the president is always right, but at the same time, the president is wrong sometimes. Some decisions that have been taken and backed by the legislators are backed, and they know it.
They know. But they don't
They don't want to even say it to the president. A lot of things happening in the National Assembly that we see clearly are intended to cover up some wrongs are there. And they must free themselves from that.
Now,
afford to throw that out.
Beautiful. So just before we call it a wrap, for the want of time, come 2027, Nigerians are preparing to go to the polls yet again. When you compare to 2023, do you see Nigerians ready to come and work with what they have, work with their civic responsibility, knowing that the 2023 issue of legitimization of that election is still hovering around? There are lots of Nigerians that still believe that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is still not their president.
Yes, that's what they want to believe. But he's the president. Yeah,
of course, constitutionally. But of course, we know that people who are there to go cast the vote needs to be, convinced that their vote counted and that, yes, this person won. But a situation where largely it is seen like, this guy didn't win, but of course he is today the Nigeria's president. 2027, do you think Nigerians will be ready to come out and vote?
Let me tell you that the way I see it, the turnout will be worse than 2023. Okay. Yes, we've always argued, and rightly so, that it is not only in Nigeria that voter turnout is dropping massively. People don't go to vote again. Not in the US,
not in the US,
UK.
Yeah.
Anywhere mentioned, they don't go out to vote.
So people are tired of democracy?
Well, they are not tired of democracy.
So what's the problem?
They are just saying, anybody you want to put there, put the person there. I was asked, what's the solution? And I said, the solution for people who feel very passionate about Nigeria is to get into clusters. You have your office here. I'm not staying too far from you. Are we in the same local government? Can we come together and seize this local government from all these big parties? Or even within the big parties, seize it for our own wish and turn around this local government. Make it a model. When we are finished making a model out of this local government, can we get people of like minds in some other local governments and seize the state? Don't forget, that was the idea behind that the NSAS. That was where I started from. That young people of like minds, can we get together and seize this country from these old men? But where did we end up? Among the young people who were supposed to seize the country, they were seizing the group for the older men.
Themselves, yeah.
It's a lot of confusion. We don't seem to know what we want. We complain about the government, but when it is time to take action, what we end up doing is we end up selling ourselves again to the same people we are complaining about. It's a big issue, sir. And the way in which we can rectify this is to ensure that 2027 we put ourselves in clusters, encourage people to come out. Let us fight for a small area where we can, even if it is the councillorship of the area that we want to produce, let us do so. Let that councillor
be the best councillor in Nigeria.
Let him not go and get mixed up with this same set of people that we are complaining about. It's a big issue. And if we are able to get one local government we make it a model, we extend to 2, we go to 3, we go to 4, we go to 5, then we are beginning to make a statement.
And by default, the system might even begin to work.
Begin to even look at you and say, this is a model. Can we take this chairman and put him as this? You know, but it is going to take time. It's elections are every 4 years. There is nothing we can do about that. It's going to take time, but it must start now. And that's the only way in which we can encourage people to come out to vote. Until people begin to see changes, convincing them to come out and vote is always a problem. And that's what I see happening. If we are not careful, by the time we are getting to 2031, 2035, we'll see just empty polling stations in this country.
Very, very true. And just like the law courts, judiciary have said that they do not have a say in what and who becomes whatever it is they intend to become in Nigeria. It is not in their line. It's not their business. But because we don't get our electioneering right, and that is why it ends up in the court of law. And tomorrow it now looks like the judiciary are the one determining who becomes the leader or whatever it is. They say on eyes of the judiciary. There's no stop looking at them.
When you look at the politicians,
look at politicians, exactly. You know, it's none of their business.
once you cannot deal with the internal democracy within your party, that's where it starts from. That's where you see sometimes, as they are fighting for who should be the candidate, the governor has emerged. He's also fighting to keep his seat.
Yes.
You know, he's still battling the internal democracy issue within his own party, how he emerged. And at the same time, another party has taken him to court to come and explain how he got the figures that made him governor. So we keep fighting. It's always, and then we tell the judiciary, you are biased.
Oh, yes, you are biased. All eyes on the judiciary. You know, someone said that even if you press the default button on Nigeria, and that will still end up in this same circle.
Yes, that's where we're going. Until we change our ways.
Yes.
We need to change our ways.
Yes.
We really, really need to. Otherwise, even if this administration does anything, by the time the next one is coming, it's still going to be the same thing. Because it's like what somebody said, Shakespeare said, a recurring cycle of stupidity. A recurring cycle of stupidity. That's all we have for today. Thank you so very much, Mr. Dotun Oladipo. Thank you.
I truly do appreciate you. Every time you come, it's always a very exciting moment, and the conversation is actually real and realistic. Thank you so very much. People would love to say thank you to you for making this a date. Please do well to visit us. You can always rewatch what we have done today when you visit us at Enterprise TV7. Also, you can read up on everything we've talked about when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. My name is Henry Gwibike. It's been a wonderful time with you. God bless Nigeria. God bless you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye from us.